Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's June 17th, 2022. We've been busy doing a whole bunch of things here on the farm. And so what I thought I'd do is give you a bit of a quick update on how things are going in the gardens. So we're over here where we usually start in the western garden plot. The gooseberry plants that we have been mounding or simple layering are doing very well. You can see they're getting quite a few berries on them. So each one of these, this was one plant, this whole area was one plant, and we're propagating it. Each one of these shoots will have roots on them, so I'm pretty happy with the progress so far with all the gooseberries. I do have to do some weeding around here. Eventually, I hope to get to it. Just got a few too many projects going on. I haven't done anything over here recently. The thornless blackberry plants are doing very well over in this area, the ones that we have started in pots, and some of them that are coming up out of the ground as well. So I will do some softwood cuttings from these. These are triple crown thornless blackberries, really big, beautiful blackberries. And this is one area that's protected so the deer aren't eating them all down. I did come over and do a little bit of weeding over here by the honeyberries or hiscaps. So as you can see, the weeds, one of the things I like to do with the weeds that we have here is as I pull them out, throw them on top of the weed mats. The heat of the sun, we've had some hot days, really is good for desiccating, drying these plants right out and making them less chance of viable, even the seeds if they fall off. Now, I did not get all the weeds out of here, but you can see the honeyberry plants are doing great. I did take a lot of cuttings, so I've got some inside and down below. I don't know if you could see some of the honeyberries. Again, we probably won't get to harvesting the honeyberries this time. But here's some more in here. Not sure if any of these are showing up. But there's some of the first ripe berries. Not as good as blueberries, but they are good. So these are the honeyberries. And I do have to do a lot more weeding in here. And the blueberries are doing very well that are in here protected with the weed mats and the drip tape. I did take some hardwood cuttings from this one and this cultivar here in the second row. So I took lots of hardwood cuttings from these. I also went out into the first food forest and took softwood cuttings, I'm sorry, not hardwood cuttings, softwood cuttings from our Patriots. Our Patriots really do wonderfully. And there's bindweed in here. I've got a lot of work to do to take care of the weeds. We still haven't thinned out the hardwood cuttings from the unsuccessful plants. Now we've got some hostaberries are doing okay. Thea did come over here and weed amongst the lupine over here. So, and I use the stirrup hoe to get rid of most of the weeds in here as well. One of our volunteer elderberry plants. Again, I've had to neglect the gardens doing the other types of projects here in the site. Yeah, I'll latch that later. And it's getting close to mowing time. When I mow, I'll purposely avoid the areas with the white clover. This, like a Dutch white clover here around the margins. I want these to go to seed. These really do make great ground cover. Over to the central garden plot. Now we've had some really hot, muggy days. But you can see the comfrey along the workshop wall here. All of it is laying over, and if you look down at the base, you'll see lots of new comfrey coming up as well. This is a broccoli. We'll end up thinning the broccoli, and the there's so few pests with the kingbirds here. Things have worked out so well. The leaves look absolutely perfect on these. Nice and scrumptious. Thea has been starting to harvest some of the kale, and we did get a question about not just pulling off the leaves. Thea planted the kale so close together, especially down at the other end, that we decided to go through and use pruning shears to take out every other one. So these are way too close together right here. And this is red Russian kale right in here. And so what Thea did just the other day is she came through and took out like every, now here's 3 here right in a row. Hopefully this is showing up. And like 3 or 4 right here in a row as well. And that will allow the rest of these to do very, very well. And the other thing that's really beneficial is the root systems. As we prune the tops, the roots will feed the microorganisms in the soil, and that'll be beneficial. And sometimes brassicas, they'll start to come right back up as well and give us a good fresh. So, this is the time of year where you could harvest every single day out here, the kale. And again, we eat lots and lots of kale. This is Premier 1 kale in this area here. Thea did come through and prune the San Marzano tomatoes. So it's time now for me to go ahead and get the cages around the San Marzano tomatoes. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done pretty soon. They are looking great. Tim's Permaculture Homestead, his tomatoes, they've had, in Ohio, they've had some really extreme temperatures there, and he has a greenhouse as well, and his tomatoes are absolutely looking great. And these are San Marzano tomatoes. As I mentioned before, we saved the seeds from these same ones, and these are determinate. These are not the indeterminate ones. So there's determinate San Marzano tomatoes, indeterminate, and semi-indeterminate. So these ones max out about 6 foot high. Our red onions appear to be doing pretty darn well. Thea has, you can see the debris in the aisles here. Thea, when she weeds, just tosses them, and you can see lots of maple seeds there as well. So far, we're real happy with how the onions are looking. We had tornado warnings yesterday, and high winds, and certainly we had some rain as well, some downpours. So some of the weed mats have blown back here, but I believe these are our sweet banana peppers here. You can see someone's been munching on some of these, unfortunately, but this will hopefully be enough for us. These are our blue potatoes, blue flesh potatoes loaded with anthocyanins. So I do have to do some weeding around here, and maybe I'll go ahead and hill these up with a little bit of mulch as well. We'll have to see. But I just haven't spent any time really working in this garden myself. Thea did the weeding here, the thinning, and the harvesting so far. So real happy with this point at mid-June, how things are looking in this garden plot. Now, previously I talked about in the eastern garden plot how I had gone ahead and soaked our sweet corn seed, and I put it in the earthway seeder, and the seed had swollen up so much that what ended up happening was the seed was just popping right out of the earthway seeder. So in some places I had 5 or 6 corn stalks, corn seedlings starting to shoot up, and we'll go over that in just a second. Here are the San Marzano tomato, not San Marzano tomato, The scarlet red runner beans along in here. We had some that did not germinate very quickly. I did come through and flame weed this area, and as you can see, more seeds are germinating on the ground now. So I'll come through and flame weed again. It was actually pretty much a breeze with the cattle panel fencing because, you know, flame weeding right up against that was great. So here's some of the new corn coming up now. Yes, just starting. And by putting the dry seed down, it ended up being great. I went ahead and tilthed in the corn that had come over, and then I flame weeded on top of it. I'll tell you, this corn is really resilient stuff here. So one thing I learned is if I'm going to soak the seeds first, don't use the earthway seeder, do it by hand. If I go ahead and use the soak them, then I need to place them by hand or use a different seed plate. The Danver carrot seeds, I don't see any sign of germination yet. I bought a few packs of those and nothing has germinated yet. And I haven't done anything with these two beds, so we'll see. Maybe I got more duds this year. These are the jalapeno peppers. And again, we're in zone 5A. So it takes a bit of time for our plants to get started here. Here are our russet potatoes that are starting to shoot up now. Again, I have to do more weeding in the area. Darn quackgrass. So lots of weeding that's got to be done. Thea has been doing lots of planting with black-eyed Susans and chamomile. These are German chamomile right in here. Most of them are anyways. There may be some Romans. Here's more of the black-eyed Susans and the chamomile in this bed. I'm not sure who's coming in and topping off. So some of these were topped off, but these are the scarlet red runner beans that are coming up. So we should have plenty if things continue. Scarlet red runner beans all down this side as well. More of the flowers that they planted here. I'll try and do an update out back where the raspberry plants are as well. The sweet potatoes are doing pretty well in here, but there's a lot of competition with the weeds, so I'm going to have to put in some time out here and take care of the weeds that are here. You know, people often think that when you're retired, you'll get bored. Not if you've got a homestead or a farm. Not at all. Over here are strawberry beds. Remember the strawberries that we purchased this year? None of them came up, so Thea went ahead and transplanted a lot more of our red onions over in this side, and so they're doing quite well. In this bed we do have we're not even harvesting the strawberries. I'm mainly interested in the runners. And of course I got to pull these weeds out that are in here that are pretty prolific. But so far these are doing well. It'll take us 2 years to get everything set. Some parsley in here Thea planted as well. I don't remember what it is that Thea, oh, those were some of our pepper plants that really did not do very well at all this year, except for the ones that we purchased from a neighbor nursery. So the rain gutter garden, looks like the spinach is getting ready to bolt here, unfortunately. And we got dill over here and some basil. And the herb garden over there is doing pretty well as well. And I think that's about it for today's garden update. I wish I had more to share with you today, or that Thea could be out with me. She's in making veggie burgers today, which are oats and sweet potatoes. Certainly there's shallots or onions mixed in as well. our Scarlet Red Runner beans. They're made as a refried bean with some peppers in it as well, and that mixes in with it. So I think she's going to make a video on how she makes our burgers here, and we really enjoy them a lot. So you know, if you're going to grow all your food, make sure you're growing the things that you really love to eat, and that can store well by whatever means you have, whether it's dehydration, canning, freezing. We're pretty fortunate. We have several freezers, we have several dehydrators, we have a root cellar, and Thea does get to do some of that stuff. Not nearly as much as I think she'd like to do, but it's taking care of this place can be a bit overwhelming. So that's it with our garden update for today. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the description below. If you found this of value, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and by all means, folks, take good care of yourselves, stay safe, and grow more food, especially tough times. Might as well grow some of your food. It can be done relatively inexpensively. Thanks so much for watching. Have a super fantastic day. Bye-bye now.